So we calculate the rate constant K using experiment 1 data. And we calculate to be like 32 point something. If you did the same calculation for rate constant K using experiment 2, you should get the same number. It should be about 32.6 or 30, somewhere there. For experiment 3, if you did the same calculation for rate constant K, should you get the same number? So does that tell you that the rate constant K is changing with time? No. So the rate constant does not change with time. Now, note that what we've done here is you've changed the concentration for these 3 experiments. Is the rate constant K changing as you change the concentration? Okay, so let's go back to this question. So note that the rate constant K, does it change with time? No. Does it change with concentration? Does it change with temperature? Yes. Yes, it does change with temperature. This is the equation we use to relate the temperature to the rate constant K. Okay, so again, there's 3 different terms we use in reaction rates: the rate law, and the rate constant. Okay, because I know how these 3 terms are confusing. Londo.
So on the graphic, what's represented by the slope is not the rate constant, it's the rate.
It's the rate. Yeah, so this slope of the tangent to this curve represents the rate. Okay. And the rate is this delta A over delta T. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The half-life for a first order reaction means that half this class is over. And we're almost, we're about half the class over. T1 half is equal to 0.693 divided by K, or a cat only has 8.5 lives left. So what does half-life mean for a first order reaction? So who says it's A? Who says it's B? Who says it's C? Yeah, so we know that at least in terms of rate law, the answer should be B, 0.693 divided by K. And then for the last equation, the rate constant K varies with temperature. According to this equation, K is equal to A times e to the minus EA over RT. And this means that as the temperature increases, the rate constant K decreases. It means EA, what does EA represent? Yeah, the activation energy. EA is greater than 0. Or does it mean that EA changes with temperature? Okay, now, a study I was at Hartnell said that sometimes your first impression is the right answer. So we'll see. So who says it should be A? Okay, so there's a couple here. Who says it should be B? EA is greater than 0. Who says it's C? EA changes with temperature. Okay, why don't you discuss this for us? In fact, only a few of you really trying to answer the question. Which means that you're not even your first impression, you don't even have first impression what that answer is. Which means you're not even guessing. You're asking for a hint for part C. Yeah, you're asking about part C. Yeah, because because see what. Let me draw a picture of the chalkboard. Okay, so to help you answer this question, let's take a look at a reaction energy diagram. So this line represents the energy of the reactants. That line represents the energy of the products. Does this reaction energy diagram represent an endothermic or exothermic reaction? Yeah, this represents an exothermic reaction because the energy of the products is lower or more stable than the energy of the reactants. Okay, so this energy difference is thermodynamics. Now for reaction rate, these reactants have to overcome this speed bump, and this energy here is called that's the activation energy. So does the activation energy for a reaction change? Based on this graph, if we increase the temperature, is the activation energy going to change? No. Okay, so this energy barrier or this energy hill or this speed bump always is the same for that reaction. Okay, so if we increase the temperature, all that means that the reactant molecules are moving faster, which means that it's easier, to try to get over that hill if you increase the temperature of the reaction.
So then, if the reactants have a higher energy, and does the bump stay the same? So you increase the temperature?
So all it means is let's say you're rolling a ball this way. So if the ball is rolling slowly, it only goes like part way up the hill. Okay, if you roll the ball faster or increase the temperature, the ball is going to go higher up the hill. If you increase the temperature more, the ball is rolling faster, then it rolls faster where it can get over that activation energy and get to the product side. Now, if you have reactants here, that means you're changing the reactants using a different set of reactants. Which means you have a different reaction. Okay, so for that last question, as the temperature increases, does K decrease? No. Okay, so if we look at this equation here, note that T is the denominator, but we have minus EA over RT, so as T increases, K should increase. And that makes sense because as the temperature increases, that should make the reaction go faster, and the rate of the reaction is reflected by the rate constant K. Okay, so as temperature goes up, the rate constant K should go up too. For part B, is EA greater than 0?
Yes.
Yeah, so note that there's going to be a speed bump for any reaction. Okay, so we can't have, unfortunately, there's no negatives. We can't have something like that. Okay, so the activation energy is always a positive energy. It's always greater than 0. Okay, that's that speed bump which these reactants have to get over to get to the products. Okay, so the bigger the speed bump, will the reaction go faster or slower? It's slower. So you have a small speed bump. If you have a small speed bump, the reaction goes fast. If you have a big speed bump, the reaction goes really slow. Now what about part C? Does the activation energy change with temperature? No. Okay, so the answer for that last question would be B. Okay, actually, maybe we'll do this question on Thursday, because what I would like to do is prepare you for the lab. Let's see. We have until, well, maybe we can start this one. Because I actually want to go over the calculations that you'll be doing in lab today. These get you started on that. So let's actually do part of this question, and then we'll spend the last part of the lecture working on the calculations for lab today. So in this question, I think this is from the textbook. The uncoiling of DNA is a first order process with an activation energy of 430 kilojoules per mole. At 60 degrees Celsius, the half-life is estimated to be 2 minutes. Now, what is body temperature? Is it 60 degrees?
37.
Yes, 37 degrees. So note that this is much higher than body temperature. Okay, and before we go on, I looked at this information. There's 3 billion base pairs in our DNA, and that's split up into 23 chromosomes. The base-to-base distance in a base pair is 0.34 nanometers, so that's a very short distance. There's 2 DNA strands which are coiled in an alpha helix shape. If we were to stretch out those 2 strands, the length of a DNA strand would be 2 to 3 meters long. But note that these DNA molecule is in each cell in our body, and there's 10 to the 14th cells in our body. Each cell is 10 microns. So note that we got a lot of DNA crammed into that little volume there. Okay. Then I was listening to some radio news story, and they were saying that these worms, I can't remember what type of worm, are able to beat the aging process because they're able to keep the length of their DNA the same length. So it turns out that as you age, your DNA gets shorter, which I guess is not a good thing.
Do you have a pill for that?